It's great to be here today to present the host city. Thank you, Ben, for the introduction. As you might be aware, the approach to selecting Olympic hosts has been radically redesigned over the past 7 years as part of wide-ranging reforms that change the way we do business across the IOC. The new system has been well received by the Olympic movement, potential hosts, and international federations, some of which have adopted similar principles for their own event allocation. Thank you for the opportunity today to present to you on how the new approach works, its advantages, and the overall benefits of Olympic hosting. I would like to start by giving you some background to the reforms to the election process. The changes began with the adoption of Olympic Agenda 2020 in 2014, shortly after Thomas Bach took up his role as president of the International Olympic Committee. 40 recommendations had been identified through a collaborative process involving Olympic movement stakeholders and outside experts. They were driven by recognition that the world was evolving rapidly and that the Olympic movement had the opportunity to be an agent of change. So why did we need a new approach to electing Olympic hosts? Specifically, the host selection process needed to change because, in the past, cities trying to outbid each other resulted in excessive expenditure. Lobbying sometimes led to ethical issues, some of which are still ongoing today. In the words of the IOC president, there were too many losers, regions who devoted time and effort to a very public Olympic bid only to fall at the last hurdle. The intense investment of resources with only one election winner put some candidates off starting a future bid. This led to challenges to secure government and public support, and some candidates withdrew from the process. The sweeping reforms of Olympic Agenda 2020 were designed to reflect the modern priorities of the Olympic movement. Further changes followed in 2018 with the new norm, an ambitious set of 118 principles to reimagine how the Olympic Games are delivered. The approach to host elections was reshaped, with an emphasis on flexibility and contextualization. The IOC works with potential hosts on developing projects that fit the local reality. To ensure long-lasting benefits for local populations, potential hosts are invited to discuss projects that align with existing long-term social and economic development plans. Partnership and cost efficiency are important. To reduce host costs and limit the use of public money, the IOC provides expertise to potential future hosts. As proven by the events of the past 2 years, the Olympic movement needs to keep pace in a fast-changing world by reacting quickly to changes, development, and opportunities. The new philosophy is that games adapt to the city region does not adapt to the games. The approach was devised under the direction of the IOC membership, in collaboration with stakeholders across the Olympic movement to ensure that the Olympic Games are fit for the modern age, that they are economically responsible and make best use of existing resources by fitting into long-term plans, that they deliver a great games experience for athletes and fans, the magic of the games, and that they are sustainable and leave solid legacies for the communities who organize them. The IOC's door is always open to discussions with potential hosts of the Olympic Games, the Olympic Winter Games, and the Youth Olympic Games. These discussions are overseen by the two future host commissions, one for the Summer Games and one for the Winter Games, of which I am chair. The first step is an informal exchange between the IOC and the city or region and the National Olympic Committee. If these talks progress positively, the NOC and city or region can choose to enter continuous dialogue with the IOC. This helps the potential host to explore and improve its Olympic project without linking it to any specific Games edition or year. At this point, the potential host becomes known as interested party. Targeted dialogue is a Games edition specific format process opened by the AOC Executive Board with one or more interested parties, which at that point become known as preferred hosts. I'll now go into more detail about each of these stages. Continuous dialogue is a non-committal, non-edition specific, two-way conversation between the IOC and the potential host, working together in partnership to create the best Games project. It is flexible and does not require any financial commitment, written submission, or other legal or financial guarantee. The IOC conducts a feasibility study to assess the state of advancement of the project, to help the interested party to make improvements, and to assist the IOC Executive Board in its strategic decision making. Among the criteria for assessment are the vision and the master plan, geopolitical and economic factors, athlete experience, sustainability and legacy, political and public support, finance, marketing and legal framework, accommodation, transport and security, sports operations experience, and alignment with long-term social, economical development plans. If the results of the feasibility study are positive and the Commission determines that the project represents a strategic opportunity for the Olympic movement, the Commission may recommend to the Executive Board to open a targeted dialogue for a particular edition of the Games and to invite one or more preferred hosts into the process. Targeted dialogue represents a deep dive into the vision, concept, and legacy of one or more projects. Extensive consultation takes place, for example, with international federations. The IOC commissions independent reports in key areas such as venues, public opinion, and any potential environmental impact. During targeted dialogue, the preferred host is asked to respond to the host's questionnaire, which can be found on the IOC website, and to provide a number of guarantees supporting the project. At the end of the targeted dialogue, the Future Host Commission can recommend the Executive Board to put forward the preferred host for election by the IOC session. This is not the only option. The Commission could recommend for the preferred host to go back to continuous dialogue. Opening a targeted dialogue doesn't mean saying no to all other interested parties. They can choose to continue working on their Olympic projects in collaboration with the IOC. If the Executive Board calls an election, the preferred host will be invited to a consultation meeting to present and discuss their project with the IOC members, who represent all stakeholders of the Olympic movement. They will then be invited to make a final presentation at the IOC session, followed by a vote. If elected, the host and the IOC will immediately sign the Olympic host contract, which is also available on the IOC website. Good governance is one of the founding principles of the new approach. There are strict rules on ethics and conduct to protect IOC members from lobbying and to preserve the integrity of their decisions. All documents, including the rules of conduct, the future host questionnaire, and the host contract, are published on ioc.org. This includes the Future Host Commission reports produced during targeted dialogue. I invite you to visit the site to see the report on Brisbane 2032. The IOC is a founding member of the International Partnership Against Corruption in Sport, launched in 2017 to strengthen and support efforts to eliminate corruption and promote a culture of good governance in and around sport. Now, let's take a brief look at some of the benefits of the new approach. The nature of the approach, with no financial or legal commitment on either side, benefits both interested parties and the IOC. It has encouraged interested parties to come to the table to ask for information or to test ideas and concepts. The approach has been designed with sustainability and cost efficiency at its core. Interested parties benefit from continuous assistance, up-to-date information and expertise from the IOC at no cost. They can test assumptions and see how best to align their Olympic planning with their own development plans for their communities. The flexibility enables the IOC to make a strategic analysis of the geopolitical, economic, social, and sport development context for a global, long-term outlook across all games. I have already talked about the integrity of the approach and how projects are assessed in a similar manner to procurement processes in the business world. Another benefit is that new permanent venues are only built in line with long-term development plans and community needs. This means there is no construction for the games that will not have a long-term community use. In Los Angeles, all the venues will be existing. For Brisbane 2032, venues are planned irrespective of the games as part of Australia's Sports Strategy Sport 2030 and the South East Queensland development plans. In terms of cost savings, we are already seeing successful results. Early reports indicate that Brisbane 2032 has made approximately 80% cost savings compared to the average candidate city for the Games in 2020, 2024 and 2028. This will be confirmed in due course by audited accounts, a requirement of the election process. Candidates for the Olympic Winter Games 2026 also made 80% cost savings compared to those for 2018 and 2022. Another positive development is that we have already secured a pool of potential hosts for the future. Since the election of Brisbane 2032, some parties for the Summer Games have confirmed interest for future games, with the next opportunity to host in 2036. The work they have put into their ambitions will be carried over for a future date. The new approach has led to strong interest in the Olympics hosting, and new regions have come to the table for the Summer and Winter Games. These cities and regions are attracted by Olympic hosting because they understand that the Games project can help them to achieve economic, environmental, and social benefits for their communities. Independent reports commissioned by the regions in question have predicted that economic and social benefits of hosting the Olympic Games. The size of the impact is dependent on local market conditions and the addition of the Games. In all cases, from Paris 2024 to Brisbane 2032, the economic benefits are predicted so far outweigh the initial investment. There are also many environmental benefits to hosting the Olympic Games, as well as the opportunity to align with and to accelerate regional and national sustainability strategies. Hosting raises awareness of climate action on a local and global level. The Olympic Games can be a catalyst for reducing carbon emissions, increasing local use of renewable energy, and advancing sustainable sourcing in the host region. Through its sustainability strategy, the IOC is committed to contributing to the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. From 2030 onwards, each organizing committee will be contractually obliged to stage climate-positive Olympic Games, minimize and compensate direct and indirect carbon emissions, and implement lasting zero-carbon solutions for the Olympic Games and beyond. All upcoming Olympic Games have committed to carbon neutrality, with Paris 2024 aiming to become the first climate-positive Games, even before the 2030 deadline. The Olympic Games can also encourage and focalize regional and national plans for social programs, such as in the areas of health promotion and sports for all. To give you some examples, Paris 2024 has a wide-ranging Move More strategy to encourage active schools, active cities and active workplaces. It is supporting initiatives to introduce 30 minutes of daily physical activity into 800 French schools. If successful, it could be rolled out nationwide. The program is backed by the Ministry of Education Research Project to study on positive effects on schoolwork. A Play LA program has just been launched in Los Angeles to provide affordable and accessible sports programs for young people. Brisbane 2032 is working to create sports initiation and schools education program over a 10+10 legacy concept, 10 years before and 10 years after the Games. Potential hosts have told us that they believe promoting sport and hosting the Games will support their efforts to help their communities to recover from COVID-19. I hope I have successfully presented why we in the Olympic movement believe that our new approach to electing hosts is a model that can offer huge advantages both for the host region and for the designated organization.